Fellow tennis nerds, welcome to another Tennis Nerd video. No, that's a boring way to start a video. Today we're going to break down the draw of the US Open. This is Carl Adrian, part of the Safiullin team. And Safiullin has a first match against Cecchinato, no?
Cecchinato, yes, Italian player. Let's see how it goes. It's not an easy first round, but at the same time, no Grand Slam first round is ever going to be easy. Especially after over 3 sets. I mean, so many things can happen, right? So let's see how that goes. Let's all wish him luck and get far in this tournament too. He did a very good Wimbledon run. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah, so quarterfinal Wimbledon, and he had a little bit of disappointment now in, how did he do in Winston-Salem? He lost first round or no? He won one?
He lost in first, yes, in 3 sets versus Cerundolo, the younger brother, Juanma, yeah. The lefty. I mean, anything can happen.
ATP is tough, yeah.
It didn't go his way that tournament, but again, every week is a new week, new possibilities, so let's see.
One thing I want to point out is that the US Open website, they have a bracket challenge that you can enter. You can win $1 million, I think, or at least a part of $1 million prize fund. Yes, so you should go into the bracket challenge and do it. I did mine this morning with the men's. We'll see if I remember everything, but it's there, and you can do men's and women, and you're in a chance to win something. So recommend all of you tennis nerds watching this to do the bracket challenge, and then we'll compare and see who wins. Who do you think will win? First of all, let's start there. We have 2 guys that are the main favorites. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz. We'll start.
I mean, I think that, of course, those 2 are looking to be in the final. They've already played another final this year. They played a final last week. They're definitely the 2 favorites, but I do think Medvedev is going to do something better this time. I think Medvedev is there. Zverev is getting better and better as the year goes on. Who else? But yeah, I would think it would be one of those 3, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you think?
I agree. I would say Medvedev is my outsider pick. Obviously, the obvious thought would be Djokovic, meaning that he beat Alcaraz, in the last match they played. But those 2 seem to have the highest, level of form at the moment. But then you always have Medvedev, and he's won US Open before. I don't see that many other players.
It's also tough to keep winning, he's won, they've been in Wimbledon, they've been in Cincinnati, again in US Open, it's tough to keep winning. Yeah. They're not robots. They're
almost robots.
they're close to, as close as it gets.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be tough, but of course you can't count them out. Of course they're going to be the 2 favorites to win. But I think Medvedev is in there. He's won it before, as you said. Zverev is playing better and better.
Zverev is playing really well,
actually. He's going to win it. I think it's going to be tough to win the whole thing, but he's definitely getting better. Who else? Who was in the draw?
I went through it this morning, and I mean, Medvedev, one of the things that my friend who follows tennis really closely, he used to work as a kind of professional betting guy, he said that the first round match with Medvedev and Balázs might be a 6-love, 6-love, 6-love. He said that because Balázs has, I think he's living on protected ranking, and he has lost some really bad matches, but he gets into these main draws. Luckily for him, but yeah, he said that might be a blow up or get 3 games or something.
Wow.
So we'll see. That's an interesting one, but not so important. There's an interesting guy, Alex Mikkelsen, in the draw that I've written about on Tennis Nerd. He's a young American guy, pretty big serve, big guy.
Volley a lot,
yeah, plays a bit of a different game. He can be an upset guy.
I'm also looking here, Arthur Fils. I really like his game. I saw him in Madrid, and he was qualifying in Madrid. As were we with Safiullin, and as I was walking around, he really stood out to the rest for me. I'd never heard of him before, but I was just walking around and he caught my eye, and I stayed watching his match. He won that match, and I don't remember how far he went, but I've been looking out for him through the coming months after Madrid this year, and he's just been getting better and better. And just checking his draw now, he has Greek Sport. Greek Sport is good, but Fils can win that, and then he has Kubler or Arnaldi next, and then he has either Shevchenko or qualifier, Sancho, Tom. He can get far. I think Fils can
dangerous
make
player.
He reminds me of Auger-Aliassime a lot.
Yeah.
The same style, good technique, good backhand, good forehand, solid from the baseline, all round, very strong physically.
Clean ball striking.
I really like his game style, so check him out. You guys will like him for sure.
He's a dangerous guy in the draw.
And good body language, positive player. I like him. He's potential maybe top 20 in the near future.
Yeah. One thing to mention about Aliassime is that he's really been struggling. Like, I mean, I've seen him change strings. Now he's back to RPM rough, I think, and he's been losing over and over again. So I think his confidence might be at a low. I talked to some guys. They said he's been practicing really well. So we'll see if he can bring that into match. But match and practice are so different. Like, you can feel really relaxed and be the best practice player ever, and then suddenly in the match you're tightening up and things go to.
Yeah, I mean, he knows he has the level in him, doesn't he? He knows that he can do good. He's just missing the confidence lately. Maybe 3 sets helps with confidence level because you can kind of build yourself into the match.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not like it's a 2 sets and it's over, no? Like 2 sets and you still have a chance, or maybe 1 set all. I mean, there's still so much match to be played. But you can never count him out. I mean, Aliassime definitely has a level. Maybe he doesn't believe it right now, but...
Yeah. What do you think of your, your country, man?
Casper, I mean,
finalists last year.
His expectations are high. I mean, like what he has to defend. He hasn't been defending much this year, has he? I mean, he's had a tough start to the year. It was doubtful with Roland Garros if he was going to defend that, which he did. So let's hope. I hope for him. I follow him every single match he plays. I really like watching him. Not to be biased, maybe a little bit, but every time he plays, I turn on my ATP tennis TV app and I watch his matches. I want him to do good. I want him to stay in the top 10. So I think this tournament is going to be important. At least get deep to keep himself in the top 10. I'm not sure. I haven't studied the points, but yeah, he's defending at 1,200 points, right, for the final. That's a lot.
Defending points is always, it's a tough part of tennis, is that like you have to kind of meet your expectations from last year all the time, and it's like a weird system, but that's how it works, you know.
He's playing a qualifier in the first round.
That should be relatively okay.
And then he's playing maybe JJ Wolf or Zhang. I mean, he has a, let's say, relatively open draw in the beginning of the tournament, but of course defending a final, it's 7 matches he has to play. I mean, it's going to be tough, but let's see. I wish him the best.
Have you seen Wolf play?
Yes. We practiced with him in Madrid. Good player.
Interesting style, yeah. Like he really like jumps big into the serve, and like he has the mullet sometimes, not always, but and, like he just looks like a guy. He just came out of nowhere. And has kind of like a bit of an odd forehand technique for the ATP Pro as well, but like just big ball striking.
Yeah,
right?
But he's an American player. He's comfortable on the hard courts. He plays on top of the line. He gets everything on the rise. He's not easy. He's not easy on hard, especially not in the US. So I don't know how deep he's going to get, but I mean he's going to be dangerous for any player to meet.
I would say this US Open, at least in my recent memory, is like the tournament with the strongest like American players. Like if you look at like the amount of strong American players in this draw, it's pretty amazing. Like you have young guys, Shelton, Wolf, Mickelson, I talked about. So many strong American players, but also like guys who've been more established. Fritz, for example, you know, Tommy Paul, who's playing the best tennis of his life, I would say. Yeah. So this tournament, like it's a high chance we'll see some American, maybe not winner, but like, at least they will go deep. I feel like there's a bunch of players.
I mean, US has always had top players, not like top 10 players. They've always had like maybe multiple or at least up there. But now they're maybe not in the top 10, but in the top 100 they have a lot of players.
Yeah, now I think it's the strongest, like the depth of the.
TFO got to semis last year, right?
TFO is up there, yeah.
He got to the semi-final last year. He lost to Alcaraz, I believe it was, in 5 sets. You can never count him out either, TFO, and he loves the show, and that's what US Open is known for, no? Yeah. US Open is known for the show, the loudness. I mean, they have that from the other US sports, basketball, the NFL, the NHL.
It's supposed to be crazy, yeah,
it's
exactly.
Supposed to be that's what they're. We had a conversation about that in private some weeks ago, no? Like Wimbledon has their niche, which is like luxury and prestige, and then French also maybe the same, like a Frencher version.
Yeah, Frencher version.
US, and then the US is loud and a lot of atmosphere.
And a bit like Australian Open, like even like it's a bit nuts there, you know.
And also the stadium shape, no? Arthur Ashe is like very steep. It's very steep. First of all, it's
so you
huge.
feel like you're in a, you know, this is a big.
I think it echoes a lot and it just gets very loud. And I'm seeing here Gasquet. Gasquet is doing doing a good season so far.
Yeah, he's playing like the best tennis in a long time. I think he's an older guy with
and he's
beautiful
playing
one-hander.
here Madosan, and then the winner of Manarino and Watanuki. I mean, maybe he's looking into the third round, maybe even fourth round, depending on.
You never know with Manarino, but he's going to defend. He's also been having a pretty good year, Manarino. Like won title on grass. Also always does well on grass for some reason.
Monfils has been playing very well. Monfils, I love watching him play. I always turn on also my tennis TV when he's playing. He's playing a qualifier in the first, but then he's meeting Rusevori or Rublev, which played a great match in Cincinnati, no?
Yeah, those. But that's a good, like, they both strike well from the baseline. It's like pretty solid, like hard-hitting feast.
That's a tough draw for Monfils. We always like to see him go far in tournaments.
Yeah, he's a fun guy for sure. We have a Malaga guy, Davidovich Fokina. He starts with Marcus Giron. Giron has also done better in recent times, I would say. So that's an interesting match. Fokina, I don't know his form. Was so-so on the clay, I would say.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he gets back into it. Bublik team is a great first round. We'll get into like some good first round matches. Bublik won big tournament this year, ATP 500 in Halle. Team is coming back slowly. The question is, and he's also won the US Open. It's hard to remember that now because 2020 was such a different year for the whole, history of mankind in one way, and it's also that final was so strange with no crowds. Him and Zverev being so nervous because they had not won one.
Yeah.
And then he had all these injury problems and maybe like mentally.
And it was right after the US Open, no? It was like right after the US Open. That's when it kind of went downhill for him.
Yeah. He hasn't really played well
after.
since then. So we'll see. I mean, Bublik will be a tough first round match, but maybe like 5 sets, and he will feel that he has been doing better generally. He can win that match, but it's going to be a tough one.
Holger Rune is someone that we haven't mentioned about yet, and he's a strong player.
And he's seeded 4. He was actually the guy when I did the draft. I thought he would go really far because, he's a potential semi-finalist. Yeah. Because he has the game to upset guys like Alcaraz, even with the power. He can go power to power, which is rare.
Yeah.
And he has beaten Novak, so that's a guy with like endless confidence and belief in his own.
Yeah, and ability. He's very self-confident.
Yep.
And Rune, maybe he hasn't had the results like in these maybe last couple months. We haven't seen him around so much. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's due to injury and back problems. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean he's back.
He only plays Impossible Racket Challenges these days.
Yeah. Maybe we should stick to regular rackets.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Tsitsipas Raonic. I mean, Raonic, after 5 years out, he came back and won against Tiafoe, right?
He won a big match, which is they had some controversy there where Tiafoe hit this. I think he ran into the side of the net, and the side of the net, meaning the doubles alley, didn't count as the net, So that was a huge controversy, and he lost the set due to that, Raonic, but still won the match.
That was interesting. It was like I've never seen it. I don't know if it's ever happened before.
No, I don't think so.
But usually in these tournaments, they take out the net and they make the shorter net for the singles. So that kind of part of the net should be non-existent. You should be able to run right past it, but because it's there, it's allowed to touch it. So
makes sense to me, like in the rule book. I don't think it's so strange. Like
the supervisor was clearly totally aware of the rule. Like he was like, so
super impressive.
So good job to these umpires. They really know every single rule. It actually not many people know or take into account these umpires how much they have to study. There's so many tiny minor rules that you got to know that. It's not just the scoreboard and just what's in and what's out. There's so many rules in tennis that...
Strange rules, like things that you might not think will ever happen, but then suddenly it happens, like this thing, and you're on TV in front of hundreds of thousands of people watching, maybe on stream and in the audience as well. And then you have to make like a split-second call on, and also be able to negotiate or at least calm down the player who's not going to be happy. Well, one of the players is not going to be happy with your call, no matter what. So you always have these... You have to always like conflict resolve situations where you're like, okay, I have a conflict, I have to deal with it. So I don't think we give enough respect sometimes to the umpires who actually put in like such a great job at resolving these situations. I mean, there are some really stupid calls. Yes, we've seen that as well, but most of them do a really good job.
No, it does take years of studying. I know an umpire personally, and there's like he was explaining to me, like it's not easy. It's a lot of studying. It's a lot of trial like runs, a lot of testing, to be able to do these kind of decisions and to know the whole rule book off by heart, and also to do it in such a decision. I even think what happened in that match was in a very important moment. I don't think it was a set point or a break point. It was, I don't remember it exactly, but it was a very important moment, and he was so fast to act upon it. So good job to the umpire.
Yep. Eubanks, another guy to watch out for. Like, he's the skinniest guy on earth, I think, but he has like a huge serve. And yeah, a big
very
game.
Good net reach.
Very good net reach.
He stretches his arms, and the racket like hits the service line. Sorry, the singles line on each side.
Yeah. Now this guy is dangerous. Like, he can beat anyone pretty much. It looks like. Fritz, of course, so form maybe going in. Not a player I would like think is gonna have a chance of winning, but I know the American crowd like obviously is one of their favorite players. And Djokovic road through the draw looks pretty simple on the Djokovic level. Most things look simple, but we'll see. Should we get to some kind of prediction? I mean, like, my feeling is Novak.
How about Sinner? We haven't talked about Sinner.
Sinner. Yeah. I almost forgot about Sinner.
Sinner is he's a hard hitter. Let me find him in the draw.
Yeah, I put him far in my
in your
thing
bracket
as well.
challenge.
In my bracket challenge as well.
Let's see, Sinner against Hanfmann, and then he plays either Qualify or Sonego. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Sinner is always a semi-finalist candidate. There's many semi-final candidates, but he's one of them.
Yeah,
he got to the semi-final of Wimbledon this year. He's been in these situations before, maybe not in US Open specifically, but I feel that he feels deep down that he can get deep.
Yeah, he can. I mean, he technically can win the tournament. Like, he has enough form to do that. He did win a big tournament as well, right? Like, not so far.
No, he won.
Was it Toronto he won?
He won Toronto, yes.
Or was it
Master
Montreal?
1000.
Yeah. So he has already shown himself, and also he loves the hard courts. I think that is his favorite surface, right? So.
Yes.
Another guy that I want to mention because he's one of my favorite players is Stan the Man Wawrinka, starting against Nishioka. It's a doable win. Considering the form he's in, he's also like Gasquet, like one of those older guys that's been, he keeps hammering and has been showing some results. Talking about old guys that keep hammering, Andy Murray as well. You never know if he's gonna, he's playing a hothead Moutet, so he has a good chance of winning, I would say. Yeah. Moutet has been struggling.
Moutet, I don't know if is he still just slicing or is he hitting backhands?
It's like your junior play. We just watched Igor here, and he was winning easily, luckily, but he has a bit of a wrist problem, so he has to slice now on the double hander.
Yeah.
But big forehand, and that's a little bit. We'll see with
and he does all these like drop shots, and he's a high IQ player, no? Like, that's what he plays with, and he
has high testosterone as well. Something. He likes to get very angry. We've seen that, and he can like self-destruct, but when he plays his game, he plays really well. So. I'll go. My prediction for the winner will be Djokovic in this case, which is a little bit boring, but it's tough to bet against him. He looks very motivated.
I'll say Alcaraz.
Yeah, I think that's good. So, I think we have that. That's pretty. I mean, sorry for the safe bets. I want to hear your outrageous predictions in the comments. Outrageous predictions. Balázs will win.
That's our favorite part. No, after we release the video, we're all day seeing what you guys comment. So please comment. We do see the comments that you guys put, and it's always interesting to hear what you guys have to say.
So we have a Swedish player, so we have to get started there because she also starts against Swiatek. Yeah, I think that is a bit tough. Big thanks to Rebecca for giving tickets to when I was at the French Open, so we really cheer for her. Yeah, it's a bit tough. It's a bit tough, that one.
Yes, Swiatek.
So she is the obvious favorite for many players, but we have Coco Gauff, who's been winning and really like cleaned up her game. And I talked to Rick Macy, the star coach, about like her forehand, especially. He was seeing like, he wanted really to work on her forehand. That was one of the things that he was, frustrated, and the thing that he thought was like a thing you could really improve because the rest of her game is pretty strong. I don't know. She has a new coach. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who it is. It's a new coach, and it looks like something is helping. Something is working well for her. Whether that's a change to the forehand or just a mental thing or something else, we don't know. But she's a definite threat to the title, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it earlier, actually today, about the women's tennis, how they like to hit so hard, or at least so flat. And I think now, little by little, the women are starting to hit with more topspin, like slice a bit more, open the court, play a little bit. Yeah, and Swiatek really proves that this is the way to go. No, at least over the long run. Maybe she won't win every match like that, because when Sabalenka is destroying every single ball she hits, and the day that they all go in, it's tough to beat. But like, if they play 10 matches, I do think that the player that plays a little bit smarter with more spins will probably win 6 of them, which at the end of the day is the majority. And
blasting every ball is not possible.
Ons is also another player that plays like that. It's so entertaining to watch. Their drop shots, goes to the volley.
One of the favorite players to watch, you know, and see, it was kind of heartbreaking
and such a nice person.
Exactly, to watch her in the Wimbledon final when she really like faded away. Kudos to Vondrousova for winning, but it was still like, it was clear that the moment, the weight of the moment just got to her, because her tennis is there to win Grand Slams. You know, she just needs that last piece of.
And she's been
puzzle.
saying that she's been fighting like in her head, like over the course of the whole year, that she needs to win or wants to win or is fighting to win her main her Grand Slam.
There's a young player to watch here as well, Mira Andreeva, 16-year-old, super powerful player, and her head screwed on, so she can definitely be a threat here. And we have.
I saw, actually, sorry to interrupt, but I saw in Madrid, it was the first time I saw Mira Andreeva. A lot of people I firstly saw in Madrid, but she was 16 at the time, I believe, maybe 17. I'm not sure. Don't take my word for it. And she got very deep into that tournament, and it was the first time I'd heard of her. And we were playing on the court after her and Sabalenka. She lost to Sabalenka that match. I think it was 1-2 or 2-3. It was something pretty straightforward, but we're in the gym at that time. She walks into the gym, and just her face was like, I'm gonna beat her next time I play her. And that was her words or her body language that she expressed when she came into the gym. She sat on the spinning machine, and it was just impressive, like a 16, 17-year-old player playing against number 2 in the world, saying those or acting like that after a match is just so big, no? And and just shows like what she's aiming for. So I'm excited to see how far she does get in her career.
Yeah, she's going to be a power player for sure, a figure.
And she has an older sister that plays very well, no?
As well? I didn't know that one.
Her younger sister. So maybe that's where she has it from. She's been competing against someone better than her all her life.
I mean, even Alcaraz has a younger brother that's, I mean, I'm not sure he's going to be as good as his older brother. But
then Novak is the oldest one, and then he's the one that's the best. So it's not always like that, but I mean, for everyone it's different.
Yeah. We have, talking about older people, we have Caroline Wozniacki back in the draw. Problem is, they rarely live up to the hype, because going back, like, you've been away from the tour is ever evolving, whether it's WTA or ATP or Futures or whatever. Every tour is evolving, tennis is evolving as a sport, so everybody's hitting harder, with more spin, playing better, moving better, and here she is, like, she, you know, took some time off as a mother and, you know, retired, but then coming back, I doubt it. My friend who I hit with here in Bel Air sometimes, Danish player, Andre, he hit with her for 2 weeks, just trained with her for 2 weeks, and he said it's like she's hitting the ball so well, and he does train with some good players, so maybe.
Huge respect, by the way, for the women that get children and then they come back on tour, and for first of all, like, already that is to admire, but then the fact that they can even come back and play and win matches and compete on a tour, that's unbelievable. So. Good job for them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So,
then I see Rybakina. Rybakina is also a player that can't be counted out.
Kostyuk is a tough first round match, though.
It's a tough one, but Rybakina is playing good. He's playing good this year.
Like, she has a big game as well, like with the serve and everything. I think she can definitely. She's always there to win slams, I would say.
And Belinda Bencic, I see her name here, and I remember she was the best in the world when I was growing up. I believe she's my age. She's born in 98, like me, 97. I remember she was the best, so I'm always checking out for her, how she's doing. I think she really went up the ranking, then she dropped a little bit, but now I see here she's seeded number 15, so let's see how she gets on. Swiss player like Federer.
We have Azarenka, talking about older players. Can always be dangerous, you know. At least.
How about Sakkari? She's strong physically. I mean.
Yeah, Sakkari is a tricky player because she looks. I mean, she's the fittest player probably on tour if you look physically, at least, you know.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to, like, I mean, tennis is like a physical game, but it's also a physical game, right? And I feel like she often chokes in situations where she should win matches. Like, she's good at fighting, maybe from equal or below, but when she's the favorite, she sometimes have a problem, like, going
and
through.
I saw some stats I think it was Sakari. I saw a stat where she's been to so many quarterfinals, but never to a semifinal, or something like that.
It's like
or
a mental
many
hurdle,
semifinal,
right?
but never to a final. I'm not sure which one. You guys can do do your homework after watching the video, but it was something like that. So, like you say, it's a mental thing. Also, if you've never been in a situation or never surpassed a quarterfinal before, it's hard to do it that first time.
Yep.
I think it's also for people in the Futures Tour that has never gotten their first point. It's tough to get that first point, but once you've gotten one, you feel like you can do it again.
Yep.
And then you do it again, and then that first maybe quarterfinal is tough. But once you've done it once, you can do it again.
Yeah, it's that hump always. Like you have to get through the hump. I mean, we see that with
breaking
Felix.
the ice.
In his like road to ATP point. Like that's just that you put the point out there as such an obstacle. Maybe it's tougher than to overcome than if you're just like, I'm gonna see how good I can get. But when you say like this whole series is about getting that point, you make the point like the Mount Everest of your like thing. And I think sometimes that can be you make the mental challenge even bigger by just putting it out there sometimes. Sometimes it can help, but sometimes it can also be
maybe just live the moment or be in the present, or play point by point, or
try to do your best, like always.
You.
I mean, it's sometimes tough to quantify exactly, and that point becomes like such a huge thing that it's like, oh, if I do it, but then tennis is such a mental sport, so you
can choke and another thing.
One match I wanted to point out was the first round tough match. Stevens, one of the best American players, versus Beatriz Hadid Maya. Hadid Maya has been playing really well, and I think that will be a tough one for Sloane Stevens.
Yeah.
Pretty good match to start off the tournament. You had something maybe you've seen?
Yeah, I see here Leila Fernandez. I hit with her earlier this year, actually not long time ago. She's hitting a good ball. She's so smart. She's another player that hits a little bit like Swiatek in the way where she hits with a lot of topspin, opens the court, takes time away from the ball. She's not a powerful player. However, she has so many other qualities that can make her do well, and also she's been in the famous final a couple of years back
Against Raducanu. Yeah.
Against Raducanu. So she's been in there before. Of course, the expectations are there. She's very young. But also such a nice person. The family is so nice. As I said, I hit with her a couple weeks or months ago, and I want to see her do well.
She has good energy, right? Like she good positive energy.
Yeah, for sure. And she's so intelligent. The way she opens the court, like she just cuts in, and she's a lefty, so she just opens the court that way, and then opens the court that way, and comes to the volley. Very entertaining to watch, so look out for her.
We wish her the best. Katie Boulter. Boulter has been doing like her best year so far, won a title. Brits are behind her now that Raducanu has struggled with the injury issues and whatnot. But there's one player she's facing the first round here, Diane Parry or Paris. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. French player, one-handed backhand, beautiful one-handed backhand, and that's a good match to watch, I think. We have another Danish player, Clara Tausen, against Potapova. Edgar behind the camera here has to correct my Russian pronunciation. She's also
tough. How
tough.
about Pegula? Pegula is one of the favorites, and she's American. She's going to feel at home. She's going to have a lot of crowd behind her. And Pegula, I also like the way she hits the ball.
Yeah, Pegula is playing, and also she's playing amazing now. She just won, so we'll see. Like usually, like we talked about that Mount Everest, and I think sometimes for some players, like winning a Masters is one thing, but then winning Grand Slam, that's where that all comes down to. Like, I mean, like Grand Slam can kind of save a career. You win one Grand Slam, you won a Grand Slam. So like, but whatever you do for the rest of the career, it doesn't matter. So it's like that can be a tough one to overcome.
Yeah,
but
and also
she has
like
a good
since
chance.
you're a child, you're like looking up towards Grand Slams. You know, like okay, you do hear like, okay, I want to win a Master 1000, but it's like I want to win Wimbledon, I want to win Roland Garros or US Open or Australia. Like that's where it's all at, and I think it's built in from such a young age where that's the trophy you want to get. So. Yeah. Even if you're serving for the match, it must be hard to close the match because it's so much.
It's all there.
So much feelings and
like I mentioned before, US Open 2020 final. There's no crowd there even. I mean, obviously people are watching on stream, but you see like the most nervous guys ever, Zverev and Thiem, and these are pretty established players at this point. Like, but they no slam, so like the most nervous final. Like it's almost fun to watch just because of you see the nervousness, but you can also almost feel it. Like it's like you know how tough tennis can be when you're nervous. So Pegula, going back to her, third seed, one of the favorites for sure, Camila Giorgi. Camila Giorgi is one of those players that designs her own dresses and hits every ball like it's the last shot she will ever hit, which is a lot of players on the WTA tour. And yeah, she can beat anyone, like 6 love, 6-2, you know, but you can also lose pretty badly. So this is a complete, toss-up in that sense. But I think Pegula will go through. Jabor plays Colombian, Osorio. also pretty strong player, but should still be a pretty easy one for
I see her Podoroska from Argentina. I was in Argentina last year. My wife is Argentinian, so I always follow also the Argentinian players at home. I want to see her do well also.
Is she more, I mean, when you think about Argentina and you think about tennis, you think about clay courts.
Yes.
Is that also in case with her? I don't know this player so well.
For sure, probably.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll see. Kanepi, yeah, there's some good...
Badosa, let's see. Badosa's playing Venus Williams. Badosa's had an injury. Also,
for a while,
she's a little bit in love at the moment. So
a little bit.
Let's see if that's going to affect her or not.
Yeah.
But she's playing against someone that's won this tournament once or twice. Venus Williams, so it's going to be
oh yeah, that's a big
interesting
matchup. And Venus is like 43 years old, like so big ups to Venus for still playing. 43
years old, ranked 407. She's got a wild card into the tournament.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I love how she's still competing.
It
just goes to show how much she loves tennis. No, I mean,
big applause.
She really doesn't need to play tennis anymore. I believe she has her own brand. She's won everything.
She just plays because she loves the sport, and that's like it's a beautiful thing to see. So that's a good match. Badosa Williams can be. I mean, like that'd be tough for Badosa to go into like a crowd that's going to be very pro Williams.
I also want to mention Badosa's footwork. If you've never watched her play, or maybe you haven't paid attention, but her footwork is on point. She has so high intensity, higher than many men. And also, we spoke to Apostolos earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
A few months
ago. Told
ago
about her backhand, like how when her and Steph were hitting backhand cross courts, like she could really face him, like with the same pace.
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting to see. Like they can actually practice that,
And we can quote that he said that she has a better backhand than the majority of the ATP players.
Yep.
Crazy good backhand and very good footwork. She's so fast. She's also tall, also to be a woman. 180 tall, good backhand and very good footwork. So yeah, she can always go deep. She's just coming from an injury and she's in love. So let's see.
Can do great things, can do bad things. We never know.
And Pliskova hangs around here in Marbella very often. She also has her academy.
Yeah, she's been here training in Bel Air a lot. She's been training at where you are.
So a lot of experience in her also.
Flat aggressive, big serve as well. One of my favorite YouTube channels in tennis is the Kasatkina YouTube channel, which she does with her wife. She is playing Alicia Parks. Alicia, I'm not from, I'm American, Alicia Parks. Parks is like Serena Williams 2.0 or the next Serena Williams, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
She also does like many shots or mannerisms, very similar to Serena, so probably was her idol growing up. And so she's going to have, that's going to be a tough match for Kasatkina to have a first round. So also here on the women's side, quite a lot of strong American players. Sofia Kenin obviously won a Grand Slam already, so she's also a threat, but she's more of a player kind of like Ostapenko in a way that she has 1 week that's the best week ever, or 2 weeks, or she can just have like she needs to really light up for 2 weeks. She doesn't have that consistent level of just being amazing like some players.
I mean, we see that a lot on the WTA tour, don't we? And also, what I do like about the WTA tour is that it's a much broader field of winners. You know, like as we said on the ATP, is like either it's going to be Djokovic or Alcaraz. Maybe we have a third or maybe a fourth in there, but on the WTA, like
it's quite open.
A few years ago, we had the Raducanu versus Fernandez. I mean, one of them was a wild card, one of them came from the qualifying. I mean, you'll never see that on the ATP tour, but that's actually cool about the WTA. That's actually I watched a lot of WTA, but I really sat down and I planned my day to watch that match, which usually I don't maybe do. So I like to see that on the WTA, to see some new players come in.
Yep.
We see
there's
also
a bit more dynamic
players.
Feeling to the
also
field,
to have
right?
a 16-year-old in the draw, like on the ATP, it's tough. On the WTA, we do see that. So there's definitely many pros on watching the WTA. So
it's a good.
So who's winning this?
Yeah,
this
that's
draw?
where we are right now. Okay, that's a tough one. I think this, like you said, this is tougher than for the men's.
Instead
I would
of
say.
Maybe 3 or 4 candidates, we have maybe like 10 to 12
Quite
candidates.
a few candidates. I think it's Pegula's time now. I think I will go for her. Yeah, because she had such a good run up. American player, we'll have a crowd in the back. I don't feel Świątek for some reason. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling, but I don't feel like she will win at least. So then that gives me a few candidates. Maybe it's On's time as well. On's Jabeur would be amazing if she could win a Grand Slam.
But I'm going to go Pegula. Especially it's a faster surface, so of course on a faster surface, the people the women that hit hard, if they have a good day, they can win, and if they're having a good week. So I mean, I don't think I'm going to count out Sabalenka.
No.
I think I'll have Sabalenka to go deeper than Świątek. I might be wrong, but Sabalenka just hits the ball so strong every single shot.
Yeah.
And she happens to be very consistent too.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So I'm going to say Sabalenka.
Sabalenka and Pegula. All right. So we'll see if Świątek or maybe Goff will prove us wrong. But
at the end, we did have a lot to say about the WTA tour.
Probably more. Yeah. Sometimes because sometimes you when you open up the draw and you start looking at the names, then you get into you have ideas about the different matches.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it beforehand, but when you see the draw, it's actually, this is quite interesting. And like we said, the women's draw tends to be a bit more open. There's a bit more surprise in it. So the men's can be a little bit more easy to predict in the way that you know that these 4, 5, 6 guys will be quarterfinalists most likely. Then there will always be upsets, but it's a little bit more, happening.
But especially in the Grand Slam with the men's, it's in 5 sets. It's usually the better player usually wins. No, like when it's best of 3, there can be more surprises than a best of 5. Because best of 5, at the end of the day, the one that has more experience, more confident, has better shots, will take it maybe in the end, or at least a higher chance.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this US Open. I'm excited for every Grand Slam, for every tournament, to be honest. But yeah, US Open is always fun to watch. It's the last Grand Slam of the calendar, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, and good luck to Roman and your whole team working with Roman and Edgar here behind us. And then
yes, we're going to be watching Monday at 5 o'clock Spanish time. So
it's a good time at least. Yeah, good time at least. Yes. All right, I hope you liked this video. If you do, please subscribe as always, and please also comment with your own predictions, like who do you think will win, why, do you have any upset predictions, and do that bracket challenge. Give some love to the official US Open website. I think it's a fun thing. Maybe they've done it before, but it maybe looks like it's getting bigger, and definitely gonna be part.
Remember to think about us if you do win $1 million, if we gave you the idea.
Donations are welcome.
Anyway guys, have a good one. See you soon.
And don't forget to play some tennis.